This is part 3 of our three-parter, our last conversation with the late, great Eddie Money as we remember him today. This is an interesting one because, first of all, I asked him about big misconceptions that fans might have about him, advice he would give kids, how he thinks touring kept him young, working with the late, great Valerie Carter, how some fans still want to party with him, and his record collection. I wanted to know what was in his collection when he left home, because that's usually, you're a kid, then you're leaving home, you're an adult, but what was all that music you left behind? Not everyone takes it with them. They'll come back and get it. But anyway, I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music. Today we pay tribute to the late, great Eddie Money, and this is the third part of our three-parter of an interview we did, our last interview with Eddie Money, just last year. I asked Eddie Money what advice he would give to kids.
Well, I'll tell you the truth. My daughter is an excellent singer, and she's fantastic on stage. I don't have to tell her anything. You got to figure my kids actually grew up with their dad being famous. But what I tell these kids today is the same thing that my music teachers used to tell me. When I took sax lessons, my teacher would say to me, if you can't play, you don't know how to play the sax. I spent 3.5 weeks learning how to play the C scale just to get in there to take sax lessons from a really good teacher. I tell these kids that come to my shows that are into music is practice your scales. If you're a singer, practice your vocals. I mean, the thing is music is all mathematics, and you don't have to be good in mathematics, but, the thing is, if you want to be a good guitar player, you got to practice. You want to be a good drummer, you got to practice. I mean, I'm always telling my kids, practice. Yeah. Not that they ever listen to me, but, that's how it is.
What do you think the biggest misconception is about you, Eddie?
Well, I am the man with no control. I mean, I've been out there. Now, when I used to work, I wasn't like a Jim Morrison or a Janis Joplin. Bill Graham was a very strict manager. But after work, man, I'd be knocking down the babies and hanging out with everybody. I'm a fun-loving guy. I mean, Where's the Party was one of my big records.
Don't you find being a musician and being in front of the stage, and that's longevity in your life instead of sitting in a rocking chair?
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, I mean, when I took a look at my brother, I mean, he's a retired cop, and he's got 3 or 4 jobs. I look at my nephews that are on the police department. I look people all around me that are mowing lawns and cleaning pools and things like that. I mean, everybody, if you think about Canada and the United States, people like us, we work very hard to make our countries as great as they are. And I just feel like, I'm into the work ethic, like when I get off the phone here, I've got to run over to the studio and start finishing up working on my record. Yesterday I had a big production meeting for the Real Money show with the kids. I mean, I'm always working, and my wife, she books the bands, and she looks great. She's really, it's all part of a team. I mean, my kids, they play music for me. My wife helps me out. She books the show. She keeps me, everything. It's all teamwork. I mean, I'm sure the relationship with your wife, I'm sure she's a big help to anything you do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
I mean, behind every great man is a fantastic woman, I always say. That's what I feel like.
Well, I've heard you say before, happy wife, happy life.
Ain't that the truth, buddy? You know that.
Valerie Carter, and I know she played with you with Let's Be Lovers Again. She's one of those ladies that had great talent, and everyone talks about her, and we love her, but she's one of those where it did get to her. You know what I mean? It eventually helped kill her. Did you actually get to know her?
Didn't really get to know her at all, but she sang like a canary. She had a beautiful voice, and we did that song, Let's Be Lovers Again. And I really wanted to do the song myself, like an Al Green thing. But she came in and, put the icing on the cake. And she was a very pleasant young lady. She was very attractive. And, I liked it. I don't know what happened to her career. I thought she was going to do a lot better than she did.
Yeah, but when you got clean, Eddie, was it hard? Were there people still trying to bring you back in? Did you run into that problem when you got clean?
I run into it all the time. If people today still want me to have a drink with them, and I just say, guys, I've had enough. I'm not gonna give up 10 years of sobriety because I was in a rigorous anonymous program. And I'm not gonna turn around. And I guess I was kind of brainwashed, but to me, getting sober. If I would have turned around and started getting loaded again, in other words, if you got 30 days and you clean it sober and you get a 30-day chip, it means the world to you.
When you left home, what was in your record collection? When you actually left home, what records did you leave behind that you were listening to? Do you remember those?
Oh yeah, man. I used to love the Paul Butterfield band. There's a lot of, like Leslie West and Mountain. I was always a Beatle fan, and I like the Kinks and stuff like that. But if you think about my record collection, I got my records that are like 50 years old. I still got a lot of them. I used to like Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. I know a lot of people from Windsor like him too because he's from the Detroit area. So I always loved it. Mitch, C.C. Ryder, Devil in the Blue Dress. I used to like the Young Rascals, Good Lovin', I Ain't Gonna Eat Out Your Heart Anymore. The Rolling Stones, the Beatles. Really good music. You know that.
There you go, part 3 of a 3-parter of almost our entire interview with Eddie Money. Some of it was taken out because it had nothing to do with music. We were just talking about places where we visited before. And as I mentioned in the video where we announced his passing, I had a sneezing fit halfway through the conversation. And I basically couldn't talk. I sneezed like 45 times. And he was on the phone. He said, it's okay, man. Take it easy. No worries. He said, I'm right here. I got nothing to do. He was just ready to go to the recording studio, though, to work on his new album. So much respect, Eddie Money. May you rest in peace. I'm John Beaudin. Make sure you comment on our video, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. This is Rock History Music.